Welcome to the fourth episode, or four. For Pete's sake, I'm Pete.
I'm Gibbs.
And I'm producer Trevor.
The enthusiasm right off the bat. We're joined by a special guest today, Tony Nardone.
Thanks, Pete, for introducing me. I'm glad to be on the first episode here.
We're glad to have you,
Yeah.
the inaugural guest. We're going to be using his expertise in a particular field later on in the show. But until then, he's just going to join in on the casual conversation we're having. So feel free anytime.
For sure. Thanks, Ben.
So the first topic we're going to cover today was the Wimbledon Championship that took place today. Novak Djokovic defeating Roger Federer in 5 sets in a 5-hour game. What are your thoughts about that, Gibbs? I know you love tennis.
Huge tennis fan. Honestly, after watching that match, I'm just speechless. I can't even give you an analysis on what just happened out there at Wimbledon.
Yeah, incredible. Left you without words.
Yeah, I would say there's probably only one other match that comes to mind in terms of just like pure stamina that I can think of straight off the bat.
I see where you're going. You want to say it?
I mean, I'll go down that road. It's the match from 7 Days in Hell.
Featuring Aaron Williams and Charles Lloyd Poole.
A classic.
Yeah, the 2001 Wimbledon men's final.
Not enough people talk about that.
No. I mean, Aaron Williams in general, too. Like, people always talk about Serena and Venus as some of the best tennis players ever, but I think Aaron really usurps them, and on the men's side especially.
Yeah, I think the documentary, I haven't watched it in a while, but it really just highlights what went on during that match.
I think they refer to it as a reverse blindside. Am I right?
Yeah, no, it was he was adopted by the Williams family, and for those who don't know, Aaron Williams is as Caucasian as they come. And he really had to give it his all against the stunning Brit Charles Lloyd Poole and his extreme cunning and intelligence out there on the court.
The whole country putting pressure on him, all eyes on him, including the Queen.
Oh, no, man. I mean, anytime you get a personal visit from the Queen before a match, that's going to throw you off. And thankfully, neither Federer or Djokovic is English, so they didn't have to deal with that. But I can't imagine the pressure he was under.
Isn't Federer 37?
He is.
How is he playing for 5 hours out there?
How can you play any sport for like 5 hours
I
straight?
don't know. I was
That's
wondering that.
ridiculous.
What sport will last? I mean, baseball, I guess, if it's like 18 innings. God, what a boring sport.
No, you
Said
said
we skipped right over the All-Star game coverage today.
probably did that on purpose though.
I mean, do we even know which league won?
I mean, the AL, I feel like the AL always wins it.
The AL one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good bet. But
Russell Westbrook got traded to the Houston Rockets to team up with James Harden. Forgot his name there. What are your thoughts about that, Gibby?
Yeah, so I mean that's a big trade, and Woj dropped that bomb. I think we were all kind of expecting Westbrook to get traded, and unfortunately he didn't end up on the Pistons, or maybe fortunately, depending how you look at it. But that trade was really two guys coming down on the downfall of their careers. I mean, they're not there yet, but they're pushing 30. They're over 30 years old, and they're both getting to the point where it's obviously like Chris Paul was having trouble with Harden, and they both just needed a change of scenery, as well as like the Thunder are stockpiling draft picks right now, so like clearly they wanted some picks in that. But one of the things that I thought was crazy was they're like trading draft picks for the year like 2024, 2025, and like 2026, and these guys aren't even like in high school yet.
Yeah, so like
The
a
guys-
14-year-old just got traded for Chris Paul.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and he like has no idea right now. But one of the big things from this trade was, do you know the name Cliff Paul?
I think so. You want to refresh my memory there?
Yeah, he was just featured. I guess he's a long lost brother of Chris Paul, but he's featured in the State Farm commercials. He's the true GOAT.
I mean, Chris Paul and James Harden got along so well in those State Farm commercials, huh? With Oscar from The Office.
It's crazy what money will make you do, I guess.
I have no idea how that duo is going to work, Westbrook and Harden. I mean, they both want the ball.
I mean, both those guys have combined to have the 5 worst seasons in NBA history in terms of like a turnover rate. Westbrook's, he's pushing 30, and that's when guys start kind of regressing a little bit.
Not Federer.
I mean, on the clay, he's unstoppable.
that's Nadal.
That's how much I know about tennis.
Excellent there.
Sounded smart.
Well, there's now some great duos in the NBA. You got Westbrook, Harden, Paul George, Kawhi. Got LeBron, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving.
Sucevic, Ivezai.
Yes. So Gibbs, out of those duos, which one you like the best there?
I'm thinking outside of the box here a little bit. I think the best duo, Pete and Gibbs. I love you, Pete.
All right.
I love the chemistry building on this podcast. How do you think the chemistry's built over these last few episodes, Nardo?
I mean, honestly, that was beautiful right there.
Yeah, I'm just
Love
trying
seeing
to talk them up a little bit.
Two of the guys just enjoying their time together on this podcast.
Just guys being dudes.
Do you have any more duos, Pete?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Those compliments there, fellas. We are moving on to. That had me thinking about top duos in history. Now, this isn't just sports. This is TV, movies, stuff in general. I guess this is kind of a weird list. But look, Gibbs, I found a list on Ranker.com, the official website that ranks things. Right. So that's the official rankings here of top duos in history. Would you like to? Actually, Anthony, how about you for this one? Would you like to give me a couple guesses what you think about the top 10 here?
Well, just a duo that came to mind when you said all time and in any kind of genre or field. I mean, really, Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee. That's an awesome movie or trilogy, and then they just really great friends, support each other.
Frodo wouldn't have made it that far without Sam.
He would not have made it. Yeah, so I guess that's one possibly in the top 10.
I mean, that duo really displays the power of friendship more than anything.
It really does.
One would say a fellowship. Well, sadly, they're not in the top 10, though. You want me to read you a couple names here? So we had, number 1 was Tom and Jerry. I mean, I wasn't really feeling that one.
This wasn't made for our generation.
Where did they get these from? Yeah.
Well, this is Ranker. They have the official list. You don't question Ranker.
Where is this research being done?
From Ranker.
Let's hear the rest of the list, Pete.
So number 2 was Batman and Robin. They're like you people refer to them
It's
as
another
Batman
classic.
and Robin. Yeah.
I would put them over Tom and Jerry.
Now, number 3, Bert and Ernie.
Ooh.
Talk about a friendship there.
Grew up with those guys.
Sesame Street?
I think it was the Muppets, right?
Something like that.
No, they were Sesame Street.
That's Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Number 4, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. That's a good one. You forget about them. Number 5, Anthony, you'll like this one. Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Oh, I don't know how I didn't even think of that. That's awesome.
The Big Chew.
Now, number 6. This is where the list gets a little weird. This one makes sense, but it's peanut butter and jelly.
That's a trio.
It doesn't really... Is it peanut butter? Oh.
Because you need bread.
I mean, it's 3. Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah, because you
the
do
big
need
3.
bread. Because you're not just eating peanut butter and jelly.
I'm
You have
telling
it on
you,
the bread.
this list is rigged.
I mean, if you've managed to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich breadless, I mean, I'd love to see that.
Well,
But
just...
I doubt anyone has.
But if you don't have bread, come on, in general.
Of course.
Straight
It's all
bread.
about that bread.
I got another one for you, Pete. I'm not sure if it made the list, but I was wondering if you could check and see if it did.
I'll check for you.
And that's Harbaugh and finishing 3rd in the Big Ten East. Ouch.
I would. That's my number 1 personally. Any of those?
Only 58 days till football season.
Can't wait.
Fire take from Gibbs there.
I rewatched the Michigan State-Wisconsin game with the Hail Mary today.
Oh,
Brought back-
Keith Nicole in the end zone?
Yep.
Beautiful. One of the best moments of my life.
Brought back some great memories there.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling we're going to have a good season.
We'll have a Spartan football preview coming up later on in this podcast here as
Will
we
we?
approach football season. Yes, we will.
Well, circling back to our original topic, there was the NBA. We're talking about NBA duos. Gibbs, I know you had a couple thoughts about Summer League. Were you looking to share those today?
Pete,
Yes.
honestly, we all came in here and we didn't really know what we were going to talk about this week. There wasn't too much going on sports-wise. There was the All-Star break for baseball. Football season's still a ways away, and the NBA free agency is basically over, which only leaves room for, you guessed it, the hype train known as the NBA Summer League. For those who haven't been watching the most exhilarating and intense playoff series in any sport, the Pistons were undefeated in the Summer League, but unfortunately their playoff run came to an end last night with a loss to the Nets. Sekou, and
The Boom.
I still can't pronounce his last name, played his first game last night in the Summer League, and he looked good. He dropped 9 points and had 2 rebounds in 13 minutes.
Wow, 9 points?
It was his debut, so it's good seeing him going out there. He's been battling a hamstring injury, but he looked good in his Pistons debut. Bruce Brown he's also been balling out during the Summer League. He wasn't able to play in his last game due to a coach's decision, but he's been balling out. He's threw up a triple-double for the Pistons in the game prior, so it looks like we won't even need Westbrook on the Pistons this year. He became the 3rd ever person in Summer League to record a triple-double.
Wow.
Crazy, mind-blowing. And then just rounding up the rest of the stuff going on in the Summer League with the Pistons. former Spartan Matt Costello has been balling out for us, and it looks like he actually has an outside shot of making the Pistons roster as a backup center.
That's so sad.
No, it's definitely not good, but he led the way in scoring for us. I think he averaged like 15, 16 points a game. And if the Pistons don't sign him, it's likely that someone else will at this point. And then just another tidbit, Matt McQuaid also played 3 games on our Summer League roster, the former MSU standout, and he averaged 2 points. So I think he's going straight to the European Basketball League. But all in all, it was a good summer, and I'm excited to see where the regular season goes as we defend our NBA Summer League quarterfinals appearance.
Well, thanks for that, Gibbs. I love to hear some Pistons talk there, some Summer League action, keeping the fans updated. But I think it's time to move on to the main event. I mean, we got the expert here. It's time to bring up his segment here. Gibbs, this past week, there's been, as we talked about, it's been not a ton of sports-related stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this would be a good time to talk about the real issues that are currently sweeping the nation. So most notably, let's talk about Area 51.
All right, Pete. Well, so there's been some great updates going on Facebook, actually.
Should we say what it is in case anyone didn't know? Do you want me to run it down?
Yeah.
Well, it's a movement from, they say conspiracy theorists, but they're more like truth seekers. You know, that's the real heroes. To break into Area 51, it started out as a Facebook group with the objective to see them aliens, with the caption, "They can't stop all of us," which that's true. The proposed plan set September 20th as the date, I believe.
Yep, that's correct.
Of the barrage. So this is why we had you here, our alien Area 51 expert, Tony Nardone.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks for describing it a little bit, Pete. So the current plan, actually it started, you said, like conspiracy theorists, but really it's spread to the masses. They want to really break in against the government, see what's going on in Area 51. There's any aliens there, possibly, free them and take them home, and any alien technology as well.
Well, how are the preparations going? I know you're very involved in this.
So there's all kinds of battle plans online that I've been seeing from Instagram communities or Facebook communities, and all involving, very influential people. Shows how, how many people have become involved in this Area 51.
Do you want to raid?
Yeah, the raid.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over one of the battle plans for us? Kind of walk us through what you've uncovered here?
Yeah. So we've got, possible involvement from the, people like...
Well, I mean, obviously everyone's going to drop in off the battle bus.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, thanking the bus driver.
On the way down, yeah.
Yeah, first of all. I'm interested in your analysis on the tactics of this sort of battle. So from the plans I've seen, it starts off with obviously everyone dropping off the battle bus. Our sort of like, background players, getaway people. We got the horses in the back waiting for everyone. And also O.J. Simpson and his team of armored Broncos.
You can't stop the Broncos.
I mean, is there a better getaway duo than that? We were talking about dynamic duos earlier.
That should have definitely made that top 10 list. I think it's awesome that Lil Nas X is going to possibly appear, with the horses in the back, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, now that OJ's free, he's been super involved on social media.
The juice is loose.
I mean, Lil Nas X was already able to hide the fact that he was gay in his lyrics, but while giving subtle hints, maybe he's been giving subtle hints that he's actually the leader of this plan to invade Area 51.
If he is, that's a pretty bold plan to enact here. Again, against going, going against the U.S. government possibly. But, I'm interested in the possible outcomes of this raid of Area 51, possible alien technology or aliens that could be freed.
Being held captive, possibly.
Exactly. I think about how if they were freed by basically the general public of the United States, that could really launch us into a possible next generation.
That really could create one of the best duos of all time.
Us and some alien species, you don't know.
Well, think about some of the characters that have been popping up lately. We've had a Gunga Ginga guy popping out of nowhere, and no one knows what he's saying, really, but theoretically, if you think about it, this plan to invade Area 51 and free the aliens has popped up. Maybe he's the only one that can communicate with them, or better yet, maybe he is an alien himself that has been out of containment for many years and assimilated into our culture and is ready to lead them into a new life. Also, you have to look at Belle Delphine. I know we talked about her last week with the bathwater. that's just an insane idea. It's otherworldly. Maybe she's an alien too. That's also
She
escaped.
does
Aliens
not look
among-
like a human.
No, people say she looks like a real life anime girl. That's not natural. You're not supposed to look 2-dimensional. Again, probable alien. But back to this battle plan here. What's your analysis on the idea of using, particularly these two groups of people as sort of the first line going in? The pawns in the game, so to speak. Those being, of course, Taylor Swift stans and Kyles.
I think the Kyles are really going to change the tide of this battle. Especially if they're supplied with something like Monster Energy drink, it's going to be insane. Like
You can't
how can the
stop
Area
that.
51 guards fight them off? You know what I mean?
There's too many of them.
Exactly. They're going to punch holes in like all the walls there and just allow the other teams to just access the base so much more easily.
Well, the way this plan's laid out, it has the NRA coming in behind them. So how do you stop that?
Again, the NRA is going to be armed to the teeth, obviously, and the Area 51 guards will probably at that point just have to bail. That's just for their own life, for their own sake.
You know too much, man.
I know they're coming for
I
me.
feel like we're taking a risk just even talking about this and
Yeah, that was
releasing
my
it to the
thought.
public.
But anyway, the rest of this plan sort of concludes by having women and children coming in from the south. You're not going to attack women and children. Obviously, they're too innocent.
No, they
There's-
would. You would least expect that.
Exactly, and they can be the ones that can sneak in and get everyone out, while the people from the north include SEAL Team 6, LeBron James, furries, and guys that drink White Claws.
I'm curious to see what Pete thinks about LeBron being involved in this Area 51 action.
Yeah.
Well, he's the GOAT, so of course you want to have him up there. You coming in from the north, it appears. I'm looking on screen. You got LeBron, as Trev said, SEAL Team 6, guys with White Claws. Is there a lot of those? Secretly, there might be a lot of those, right? When you're talking to guys, they might not say they drink them, but
Pete, there's a rumor going around that you were drinking White Claws last night.
I heard that you brought them.
You can't prove anything.
Let's just get the cat out of the bag. This is a White Claw approved podcast.
So we're part of the guys that drink White Claws. I don't really want to be part of that group.
I'll be there.
Would you rather be a Kyle or a furry? My guess is no. But anyway, you said LeBron's involved in this. Do you think he'll... I question whether or not he's actually going to be attacking in this. He'll probably just bring his film crew, and this will be a scene in Space Jam 2. Think about it.
That would be at least some good documentation would be good, because even if the battle did the battle attack fell and the Area 51 guards prevailed against the public, at least then we have on film exactly what happened and possible seeing any kind of technology there or whatever.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron also sat out for load management like he did a lot last year too.
Well, is he going to need a super team? Like, this just says LeBron right here. It needs to be like LeBron and AD, LeBron and, Kawhi, LeBron and Kevin Durant. Like, he can't do it on his own.
Not anymore. Not at this age.
No.
I think just because it shows, LeBron and SEAL Team 6 coming in from the north, they'll probably be linking up once they make it past that first round of guards. That's just my thought.
Now, this isn't documented on the plan, but this is something I've theorized. Who do you think, which group of these people will open the portal to allow David Copperfield to teleport in and get the aliens out?
It feels like you're onto something. Could you provide a little more
I've
insight
thought a lot
there?
about this, and again, the way it looks to me is that that'll be the job of the women and children, because, yes, we're in a society now where women can do anything, but still, if you're just approaching Area 51, you're going to suspect less of them, and they can just be like, oh, sorry, we're in the wrong area, we'll go back, and then they don't go back. They know exactly what they're doing. Then they go in there, they open the portal where all the aliens are being held. Bam, David Copperfield appears on their shoulders and gets them out of there. Takes them to the Great Wall of China. But instead of going to the Great Wall of China, teleports them to the Wimbledon finals.
Trev, you're just giving away too much information right now.
Am I?
Yeah, they're going to know how to defend it.
Well, Tony, we're kind of wrapping this up here. How should we feel more afraid or excited about this invasion or barrage into Area 51?
Is there a way we should prepare? Or?
I think, be excited for the possible outcomes of victory at Area 51 and any new, like I said, news. That would really be like societal changing of, finding aliens or alien technology. Other than that, just keep your ears out for the actual, September 20th when this is supposedly going down, and look for updates. Just be excited,
Maybe you can find us on the Facebook group, I believe, the details.
Yeah, right now there's about 1 million people going. So I think they can't stop 1 million people. There's no way.
However, that is not the total fan base of the Logan Paulers out there, so we need you to commit to this further, especially that group in particular.
All right. Well, thank you for that expertise, Tony.
Thanks, Pete.
Should we move on to our last two segments here, most popular segments? Gibbs, would you like to go first? If Gibbs, your take?
Yeah, I would love to. There are few moments in a man's life where he's allowed to cry. Possibly a funeral, his wedding, and of course watching Marley and Me. Now, I'm not one to get emotional, but I experienced one of these moments myself over this past week. As I was sitting back, relaxing after a hard day at work, I opened up the Instagram app to try to get my mind off the struggles of a typical day at an office. To my dismay, the first picture I see is of former Tiger Justin Verlander. And no, not just a picture of him and Kate Upton that leaked, but of him and two other former Tigers and one soon-to-be former Tiger at the All-Star game. Justin Verlander, JD Martinez, James McCann, and the soon-to-be traded Shane Green were all in the picture. Not to even mention Max Scherzer was also pitching at the game, at the All-Star game, who's a former Tiger. I think back to the days where the Tigers were relevant, with Central Division titles in 2011, 12, 13, and 14, and if I could speak, and reminisce on the playoff runs with these former players.
Way to push through.
I love it. I think about just how good our roster was, and we have no rings to show for it now. And by the way, Torrey Hunter should have caught that ball. Fast forward to now, the Tigers are on track for 110 losses this year, which would be the worst in franchise history since 1901.
And they still might not even be the second or third worst team in the American League.
But we're only going to get worse as we start selling and trading away our assets. We have nothing. So cheers to another 4 years to infinity years of a rebuild.
God, that was depressing.
I mean, do they even know what they're doing on this rebuild?
No, and Avila, Jesus.
Yeah,
That's like Doumbia over again, man.
I know, I can't talk. But he just got an extension.
Yeah.
So we're stuck with him now.
I really don't think. Obviously, we've gone from Mike, rest in peace, great owner, but Chris is clearly not showing the same level of urgency to compete with either of his teams. So this might be a rough few years for the Tigers and Red Wings.
It's just tough to watch. Cabrera's can't hit anymore. I mean, the average is there, but he can't.
No power.
He can't run.
And I mean, half of our salary is tied up between him and Zimmerman. It's just
who doesn't even pitch or doesn't even pitch well when he is healthy.
He pitched today and gave up 3 runs in the first inning, and that's all I watched.
Classic Tigers.
Yep.
Well, Gibbs, thanks for that segment, which was a little more cheery, but thank you for informing us there. It's time for one of the most popular segments. For Pete's sake.
I hope you can pick us up a little bit now.
I'll try. I think I will. So Gibbs, Tony, I know I'm a little young to be doing this, but I'm going to have a back in my day segment. You ever ask your younger siblings or cousins what they grew up watching? No? All right.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
You'll hear titles such as Ant Farm, Dog with a Blog, and Good Luck Charlie. Why isn't it Good Luck Chuck? Doesn't that just sound better?
Because it's a woman.
Well, these kids missed out on the golden era of kids' TV, but we did not. So Gibbs, Tony, buckle up because we're going on a trip down memory lane, exiting right into the 2000s television for kids. Let's pick it up with Hannah Montana. You guys remember that? A pre-twerking Miley Cyrus. She's just a regular Joe by day, but a secret pop star by night, and no one could tell because of a wig.
Simpler times.
You could say that's the best of both worlds.
Also, on a side note, who would have thought that 12 years later, her dad would be more popular at the moment?
I'm just happy to see it that Billy Ray's come back into the spotlight.
I mean, that's the hottest song of the year.
Stop it.
We also had Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. You guys remember that one?
Better than the Sweet Life on Deck.
2 twin boys living their entire lives in the hotel. Where do I check in?
I mean, you got Ashley Tisdale living there, too.
There's more of this?
We're just getting started. That was just the Disney Channel shows. Amanda Bynes hosted a show at night.
What happened to her?
This is before she claimed there was a microchip in her head. So I feel like that should be more entertaining today. They brought her back.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know if it'd be suited for kids, but I would definitely watch.
Is she
Yeah,
coming to Area 51?
Do you think they maybe implanted the chip at Area 51? Released her back in the public?
It's come full circle.
Which group is she in?
I mean, does she really fit into Taylor Swift
She's got to be
stands?
teaming up with LeBron.
I think she's actually part of one of the drivers in the O.J. Simpson Armored Bronco team.
Sounds likely, honestly.
Yeah.
We had the prequel to Game of Thrones, Dragon Tales. We had Caillou. You guys remember that one? It was a modern day Charlie Brown.
I mean,
Felt that looked like a pube on his head. We all learned what an aardvark was watching Arthur.
That was a good show.
The glasses stayed in his head, but not behind his ears. You ever notice that?
I mean, it's a cartoon, Pete.
You guys remember Zaboomafoo?
how could you forget?
It's on Amazon Prime. It's only 2 seasons.
Kids, if you're listening, that's the one show out of all of these you really need to catch up on.
I want to say rest in peace to Zaboomafoo, the lemur. He passed away, I think a year or two ago.
I think it was
Yeah, sounds
2014.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
He was
That long
20.
ago?
God damn.
He was 20 years old?
Yeah,
He's almost as old as me.
for a lemur.
That one hit me harder than Harambe.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, we also had the Teletubbies. They were kind of creepy though.
They were, like, honestly, they were just, what was the point of that show?
I was not a Teletubbies viewer, so I can't really.
I mean, they had a pet vacuum cleaner, so there's that.
Well, they made a live action one, the Teletubbies. It's called The Wiggles. What was that song?
Don't throw shade at the Wiggles like
Fruit
that.
salad.
Banger.
Gibbs, I think that's all I got.
I
I hope you
mean,
enjoyed the little bit of nostalgia. Make you feel a little bit better after the depressing Tigers take.
Yeah,
You just had
no,
to-
I'm reminiscing a little bit. Thanks for that, Pete.
can I add a few more shows to this?
What do you got?
I mean, Drake and Josh for number one.
I never watched Drake and Josh.
What? Wow. Someone missed out. That was like the best show on Nickelodeon for a while. Very clearly. Also, I mean, early SpongeBob. Granted, they still play that, but as it was coming out, there was nothing better.
Do they still play that?
They still do. They made a, 20th anniversary episode a few days ago,
Wow.
I want to say.
Did you watch it?
I did not, but I had seen the promotion for it. Sure the kids out there enjoyed it. And then from there, also, got to mention Dexter's Laboratory. Just
No.
Yeah,
The
I
classics.
never tuned in.
the classics. I mean, that dude's sister, man. I don't know how she kept managing to, get in his way, but she did.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cartoon Network shows. I feel like we didn't mention much of those. Dexter's Lab was on Cartoon Network, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Courage.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
That was another good one.
No.
Creepy, a little creepy, but
You need a little scary in your life as a child.
yeah.
Trev, do you have a story for us now?
I really wanted to touch back on this Belle Delphine story from last week. However, in doing my research, I found out I had been bamboozled. So right after we dropped the podcast last week,
You said bamboozled?
I did. But I mean, anyway, going back on this, right after we dropped the podcast last week, there was I don't know if it's an article or a post I saw sort of elaborating on what we talked on, saying that she was selling her urine as a one-time deal to one customer for $10,000. And, from all the stuff I've seen lately, that just, it's not even out of the ordinary. I didn't even question that it was real. But it turns out a few days later that, no, that is in fact false. She was not selling her urine. And I want your guys' take on this. Had that been true, do you have to respect the game, or do you just sit there in disgust?
Sit there and discuss.
All I'm gonna say is $20 is $20.
Yeah. So going from there, we also have to give an update on Mr. Gunga Ginga guy. He made a video recently actually revealing his voice. He talked about being a meme or a meme, as he said. And he's going to continue to Gunga Ginga his way through life. And we look forward to whatever he has coming next.
Can't wait to see it.
Oh, of course.
You should try to get him on the show.
For sure. I really didn't have a story this week, so that's about all I got.
That was a really good ad lib.
That's good. Also, a little update on the podcast on the business side. We have got a host lined up, and we should be, I know I've been saying this last few episodes, but fingers crossed this time, knock on wood, we should be on not only Spotify within the next week or two, but also Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and various other sort of sound hosting sites. So
We're going big.
got that to look forward to.
Well, thanks, Tony Nardone, for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate the insight, man.
For sure. It's fun being here.
That's all we got until next week. Signing off.